Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another video in the studio. Now today we're looking at something completely different. We're looking at Corsair's new Polaris MM800 mouse mat. And I know what you're probably thinking, a mouse mat review, what on earth is he on about? Now a year ago if you told me that I would be running a review of a mouse mat, I would have laughed you out the building. But two things are happening this year, tempered glass and RGB. RGB everything, keyboards, headsets. And a lot of you will know that I like RGB in places where you can see it, but I'm not entirely convinced whether a mouse mat is the right thing for RGB. So when Corsair got in touch and asked if I wanted to review their new mouse mat that featured RGB customizability, I was very intrigued, and which is why we are here today. So let's start with an overview of the mouse mat itself. In a sentence, it's a medium-sized mouse mat with a hard surface, grippy underside that features RGB lighting around the edges. It also features a USB pass-through, so you can plug this into your computer and then have something like your mouse. It's actually got a mouse icon on the USB port that you can pass through directly, so you actually get your mouse plugged into the mouse mat and then you don't have to worry about taking up two USB ports. Now the whole thing is fairly medium sized, it's just over 30 centimeters in width and just under 30 centimeters in depth. This means that it's going to fit on most people's desks, and I can see exactly why Corsair have gone with this size. Because if you're like me, you're probably someone that has used a few different mouse mats in their time and has a favourite sort of size, but this is definitely firmly in the middle road category, so it will fit most people's desks. And if you are an early adopter and you want to get something like this, then this is essentially going to sell more because it's applicable to more people. But while Corsair haven't released any extra sizes at the moment, I'm sure that if this product is popular, they will release other sizes in the few months and years to come. Taking a closer look at the surface of the mousepad reveals that this is a hard surface. So your mouse is going to glide over this a little bit quicker and with a little bit less resistance than if you're used to using a cloth mousepad. Now I am used to using a cloth mousepad and I was a little bit skeptical at first because I've used a couple of hard mousepads before. The main one and most recent one is actually on Corsair's Lapdog, and I didn't really like this, to be perfectly honest with you, because while it did the job, I just think I prefer a cloth mousepad. Whether that has changed remains to be seen, but I have to say that I actually got on really well with this mousepad, and playing some Battlefield 1 beta, it really didn't take me very long to adjust to it at all. Your mouse moves a little bit quicker, but once you've got used to it, you can actually find that you've got a lot of control. And I'll talk about this a little bit later when we touch on the gaming performance, but generally speaking, the surface is very nice to use. But if you are a die-hard cloth user and you swear by never using a hard surface, then this probably isn't the product for you. On the underside, you'll find that we have a very grippy surface, and seriously, this thing has a lot of grip. It really doesn't want to move at all, so really can't fault it there, and it definitely is better than cloth mousepads in that regard. But of course, the star of the show, the main feature of this mousepad, is its RGB customizability. And this is going to be the love it or hate it part of this mousepad. And realistically, I think you know by now whether you're interested in buying one of these things, or at least interested in having a closer look. And if you think the idea of having RGB on your desk is absolutely ridiculous, then you may as well stop the review here, because it's not going to change your opinion. What I can do is look at this objectively and tell you whether it does perform well. And whether you want to go and buy something that's purely for aesthetics is purely down to you. So, looking at this completely objectively, the RGB customization is really nice. If you ever used a M65 RGB or any Corsair RGB peripheral, then you're going to know the effects and you're going to know that they can link up nicely. If you can't already see, there will be a close-up. But all the Corsair peripherals that I am currently using on my desk, they're all synced nicely. And you don't have to do this, but using the new Q 2.0 software, you can link everything up and you can have some cool effects. Whether this looks good, I am still debating whether it's good enough to justify its price, but I have to say it does look quite cool. The RGBs are very bright and you've got plenty of colours to choose from, and I have not looked at this mousepad in any way and gone, I wish the RGB customization was better implemented, because on that respect it definitely does the job very well. I'll just quickly note on the performance side of things that while this mousepad is a hard pad, I got on with it really nicely. As I've already mentioned, it did take me a while to adjust, from using a cloth mousepad. I'm used to using a massive mousepad, so going to a small one did take a little bit of time to adjust to, but genuinely the tracking on this thing is brilliant, and as long as you've got a decent mouse to take advantage of it, I think it's a very nice pairing for your high-end gaming mouse. One small problem is that the USB pass-through box at the back of the mousepad does catch a little bit on the mouse when you're using it. I originally thought this was going to be more of a problem than it is, as I've never accidentally moved the mouse in the wrong area or been stuck or just had any real issues with it, but it does catch the cord a little bit when you are moving your mouse from left to right. So I'd like to see this revised in a future revision, but it's not really a reason to put you off this product. So then, that is pretty much everything you need to know about the Polaris RGB. Whether you should be looking at a mousepad like this purely comes down to whether you are interested in RGBs, and whether you're interested in RGBs in a mouse mat. I've slated Corsair's Void headset before because it has RGBs that you can't see. Now, obviously with this, you can see it, and if you like the visual effect, then I think you're going to like the mousepad. And this is one of the few products that you can probably tell whether you're going to get on with it just by pictures alone. And my opinion is actually probably not as necessary as it is for other reviews. Plainly because I see this as an aesthetic purchase. Whether you want to buy this and whether you think it fits in with the Feng Shui comes down to you, and it's not up to me to say. My personal opinion is that the mousepad, I think it looks good, and it does everything it's set out to do very well, with the small exception of the fact that I would like it to be bigger, personally, but that's just a personal choice, and the fact that objectively it does have a flaw in the sense that the cable does snag a little bit on the junction box, but that's not really a problem. But my advice really, if you're looking at this, is if you really like the look of this and you think it's really cool, then I think you'd be happy and I think it warrants a purchase. But if you are someone that's a little bit on the fence, then I personally would say you're better off getting some LEDs for your desk if you haven't already, putting them under your desk, and I think that's a much cooler RGB effect that's going to have a larger amount of difference on your setup. Or of course spend some money on something that isn't aesthetics and increase the performance of your PC. But it's not for me to say what you should spend your money on, and while I personally wouldn't buy this product, if you are after something that fits in with this, which is an RGB mouse mat, then it definitely does what it says on the tin, and it does come recommended, which is why it wins the recommended award. If you do want to see a review of the peripherals used in this video, you can find them in the eye in the top right hand corner. If you have any questions, then leave them down below. Please, this time, I always say leave any comments down below, but this time I really mean it. What do you think of this product and the Razer Firefly and any other RGB mouse mat? Has RGB gone too far, or is there genuinely a big interest in these products? It's not for me to say whether you should buy something when it comes to aesthetics, so I really would like your opinion, and I would like to know whether this is something you would look at buying or whether it's a waste of time. And of course, to those people that think this is a waste of time, then guess what? It's a waste of time for you, but there we go. Not much more to say. A massive thank you once again for you guys for watching this video. A massive thank you to Corsair for supplying the unit used in this review. I think I'm going to leave it on my desk for another week or so and really see if I can properly adjust to it, but I still think that I prefer having a larger mouse mat. I might actually double up. I might have the cloth mouse pad and then that mouse pad on top. I haven't yet decided, but yeah, it might take me a while to adopt a smaller mouse pad, but there we go. Massive thank you once again. Leave a like on this video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't. A massive thank you, as always, once again to Corsair for supplying the unit for this review, and of course for sponsoring the channel as always. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Subscribe. PC Centric on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all those good places. Amazon link to this product should be in the description, and I'll see you in the next video.